Namaste.
Namaste. Just gonna give you a bit of introduction about myself, Deepika and Jnandev. So we established the Yogacharini ashram in 2009, and we started teacher training around 2010-11. Jnandev came to India in 2008, so that's when it all started really, the ashram. My own personal background is that my academic training is in philosophy. I did a degree in philosophy and sociology, and I then went on to do a postgraduate social work training. And I worked mostly in mental health for about 10 years. It's just a small part in childcare and also for some kind of drug addiction team. And I also got to use some yoga techniques actually when I was in the primary mental health care team. So that was really a good experience, especially for this yoga therapy course. I got to use some techniques with some of the patients. So going back, I've been following, I would say, a spiritual path for a long time. I remember from childhood actually having a very deep kind of searching going on inside of me about trying to understand what else was out there, or what the purpose of life was, or what the divine was. And almost I had like a sense of that I had to find or get to the divine. I don't really know how else to explain it. So probably from teenager then I was kind of looking around different things, from kind of new age things. I did like a Reiki course, and I lived in a Buddhist centre for a while as well, in the New Kadampa tradition, and I was really kind of searching lots of different paths to try and quench this kind of spiritual thirst, or you could also call it the existential kind of angst really, that I had. And I had practiced yoga. I'd been to yoga classes. I think my first yoga class I was around 17. But of course, anyone can go to a yoga class and still you were just really scratching the surface. So I couldn't say that I truly discovered yoga when I went to my first yoga class. And when I truly discovered yoga was when I went to Ananda ashram in Tamil Nadu in 2000 to do my teacher training there. And it's one of the most in-depth teacher trainings in the world. It's a 1,500 hour course. And we lived in the ashram for 6 months. And it's a very deep, intense experience, and it completely changed my life at the time. It was about 12 years ago now, 13 years ago or something. So that was really amazing. It totally changed my life, and I came back to the UK, and before I'd even left India, I knew I was going back again. I was like, I'm just going to come back to the UK for a short time and get back to the ashram as soon as I can to undertake more training with my teachers, Amaji Meenakshi Devi Bhavanani and Dr. Ananda Bhavanani. The guru of the tradition is Dr. Swami Gitananda Giri. He was very famous throughout India, or still is, especially when it comes to pranayama practices. It's a very rich tradition, very authentic tradition. So I was really happy and feel very blessed to have found this Gitananda tradition. Also, while I was at the ashram, I met Jnandev, my husband, and we were both on the same course. And from there, things developed, and that's how we've come to where we are now. We've been running the ashram and teacher training now for 10 years or something, no, 11 years now. We've also got 3 young boys, Sid, Mahadev and Krishna. So they keep us really busy, but again, we're really blessed to have them, very special souls. So I'm sure there's other things I can tell you about myself, but that's probably the key points to get a bit of background into me. The only other thing I would say that was a big turnaround for me was the pranayama work at the ashram was able to really change my own respiratory disorder, if you like, which I had from childhood, a very serious asthma that I was in and out of hospital for a lot of my childhood. And I was also on life support for 3 days when I was 8 years old with a very bad asthma attack. And since then it affected my whole life, and I didn't really probably realise how I'd gone to the ashram and done such a deep work on my lungs that I came out feeling like a completely different new person physically, on a physical level, also mentally and emotionally, but in terms of my lungs and my lung capacity and my ability to practice certain pranayamas. It was a revelation, a very profound experience. So that I'm very deeply grateful for that experience at the ashram. So hopefully I can share with you some of those techniques and experiences. Namaste, I'll hand over to Jnandev.
Thank you. That was very insightful introduction. It's always nice to hear some of these amazing stories of our life. My journey of yoga actually begins sort of with the fortune or destiny or the samskaras that I must have accumulated from many previous lifetimes. I was born in India in a very typical Hindu family, and both my granddads from my mother's side and my father's side, they were very spiritual people. My granddad from my mother's side, my nana, he used to actually do bhajans, so singing bhajans, kirtans, and then doing satsang. So he used to tell lots of stories. So he my first guru, or who initiated me into some of the Hindu, some of the yogic scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata or Ramayana. As he himself never went to school, so he would buy me sweets so I can read him the literature or the books he wanted to know a little bit more, to add some more depth and richness to his stories. And as my life journey goes on and on, I went through lots of different levels of understanding and practicing the philosophy, meditation, bhajans, singing. And I guess in some ways, I can see that when it comes to the Hatha Yoga itself, some of you might be actually much more older in that sadhana or that practice. Because first I was initiated into Hatha Yoga when I was 19. So up to that point I was more into the meditation, the philosophy, the pranayama, the singing, chanting, and the satsang side of yoga. But as my journey goes on, I studied pharmacy to begin as my first career. I didn't enjoy that for too long, so I quit. And then I did my graduation in physics, chemistry and maths. So I enjoyed studying the science, which really helps me to be who I am now, as it gives me many dimensions to understand these yogic concepts and ideas from our modern science. Especially from that study, I have very deep interest in the quantum science, understanding the concepts of prana, panchkosas, the energy, life, creation and all that. Then I went in to do my master's degree in yoga, so I hold MSc in Praksha meditation and yoga, which was done in one of the Zen university in Rajasthan. The university actually is run by the Zen monks or the sadhus, following these ascetic, these typical traditional yogic practices in a very sort of ashram lifestyle. And I really enjoyed the richness of their library, their knowledge, and then sort of studying that in a university setup. After that, I did work for a few years in a couple of yoga centers, naturopathy centers. I worked for a little bit in a drug de-addiction center using the yoga and naturopathy as a tool to help people to come out of it. Yeah, so then I got the job in a school MGPS school, where I was teaching around 2,600 girls from 6 year onward up to 16. Sort of going through every week, and we did lots of work with the kids with different health problems, especially the mental or the learning disabilities. And we found yoga was really significantly helpful. And I became a sadhu, a saint, for quite a few years, where I explored the true sort of sadhana and the meanings of the yogic practices. Especially, I kind of, in very beginning, I had lots of drive towards the mysticism of yoga, so I went into finding that out. And as my sadhana goes on, then gradually I ended up being in the ashram in South India, Anand Ashram, so ICYER, and that's where I met with my darling wife Deepika, and our rest of the story goes on. And yeah, since we both established Yoga Ashram, we had our 300-hour yoga teacher training course. We also run the pregnancy and the pre and the postnatal yoga course. We run the yoga courses for children, teenagers, and we do some workshops on using the yoga therapeutic tools in various dimensions. We do some work as a yoga care wells, which we started quite recently together, especially with Deepika's inspiration to try to bring that together. And that was really the first seed of this yoga therapy course, as it gave us a big inspiration to try to pull these practices, these concepts and ideas together to bring them out to the wider community where people need. And we do some work with arts care and in different local sort of places where they need the services for the people who are disabled or people who got mental or emotional health limitations or issues, which we found quite nourishing or quite nurturing. Again, another inspiration.
And you've done some great work in the psychiatric ward as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so these are some of the work we both have done together here that kind of really inspired us, that these very simple practices of yoga can be taken out to the bigger community where people may be not able to come to a yoga class, or to sort of, the open sort of classes where things maybe are too extreme or too physical or too inaccessible for people with the limitations. And yeah, we are very inspired and very excited about this course. And as as we put this out, it's amazing how the universe really pulls things together for all of us, really. That we had Jyoti who came forward on her own to offer her help and teachings and wisdom to share on physiotherapist. We have Catherine, doctor, who is really excited and very passionate and happy to share her wisdom to really add that understanding, that insight from a doctor's perspective. Plus, hopefully we'll learn how to deal and take notes and sort of go through with people. And then as the course coming towards, when we were finalizing it, we were really, at the last moment being blessed with Dr. Ananda, all his wisdom and his teachings. So we feel, quite privileged, and as actually it's very exciting that more we're expanding our own heart and this attitude of sharing. There are still so many other people actually coming forward, offering different teachings and aspects. So hopefully there will be even more that will come in from various traditions and these amazing people who are sharing their knowledge, their wisdom and teachings.
Just to reiterate, I'm very grateful for the input of the other teachers on the course, Catherine, Jyoti and Dr. Ananda. And
then last, but I would say not least, but actually quite important, that in our background work and all this inspiration, pulling this course together on the website and doing all the emailing and really sort of organizing it for sharing it, making it accessible for us all through our new portal, Learning Yoga Online. So we are very grateful for Marcio and the yogic name Pragyanand for all his divine work that he's putting in, his love for sharing and really bringing these teachings out to be used in a wider community.
I'm sure this is going to be a really great, successful course. So welcome to the course and hope you enjoy it, and also make some of your own personal self-development changes and growth for your own spiritual journey. So thank you everyone, we'll see you throughout the year, and good luck with the course. Namaste.
Namaste.